So there are so many challenges in your role, you know,
Wow.
from the work itself is challenging, and then you're seeing a system where maybe it's your desire to rehabilitate people in a different way. But I think you mentioned you tried, there was something you guys were trying to do in your previous workstation, but it was just not possible. You're seeing these the gap in mentorship. So how do you navigate through these challenges to keep you going and to keep you sane?
Okay, for me, because I'm an introvert, but I think now I've become an ambivert. So good thing about prosecution, it forced me to get out of my comfort zone in terms of talking to people, approaching people. I was never really that kind of a person, but unless people knew me more or less on a social side when I used to drink alcohol, so I'll always be easy. I guess, liquid courage. So now for this job, you always have to talk to somebody to get maybe information, assistance. So that's something it helped me. Um yeah, I'll talk about finding a hobby.
Yeah.
Honestly, and drinking and clubbing is not a hobby. So a hobby that actually fixes your physical and mental health. People kwenda kwa club, kuhang is not a hobby. And you see, for me, because me, I used to party a lot until 2019 is where I just had my breaks. Then when I quit alcohol is when, and also, honestly, I just got tired. So it just dipped. So for me, because I love experimental cooking a lot, I feel I finessed it more in Meru, but not in Nairobi was dance. I was doing it with my brother before Ivy left the nest, but we used to do it together. Side with baking,
Yeah.
but the moment that now I was living alone, I just now finessed that. And then also traveling, I've always loved traveling. Exercising is also good. So I think before I left Meru, at least I used to do twice a week. I used to jog. So Meru is very okay, I wouldn't say hilly, but yeah, the terrain is not flat. So, you walk, then you jog. I used to jog incline. Then also when I had time, I'll always used to try and do home workouts when I had. I was not very consistent with it because by the time you leave work, you come back, you have to create your downtime, you have to cook. You're just always tired, which is unfortunate. So the three things I used to find myself doing. Then again, so the first 2 years, I used to do a lot of watching of movies, series and stuff. But then now last year, because I started school, now my master's this year, I purposefully decided to start reading novels to reduce my screen time and also to encourage myself. By the time I'm going to start now reading for school, because it is deep when you're reading for your work, because work is reading for something specific, but then at school, you have to read a lot more. So I started reading novels, and yes, I love my West African literature, fiction literature. I love it a lot. So at least last year I read about 27 novels. This year I've not read much, but I'm about, I think, 12. But, so you just have to pick some hobbies along the way that's going to suit your mental health. And another thing I always do, at least every day, is that I always have let's check on IBD. Let's sit and reflect. Okay, IB today, this was happening today. How did you react to what happened today? Was it good? Was it bad? Why is this happening today to you? You have to have a real moment with yourself. And for me, unfortunately, I talk a lot. Alone. I was told it is healthy. I am not crazy people, but
I've had it too. It's you're seeking expert advice. That's what it is.
and also I had a rule for myself. So when it gets to 7 p.m., It was so bad in 2021 because I feel like at some point I fell into depression. I went through a very dark phase. 2021 was just a very dark time for me. So there are times, also with police officers, you have to create your boundaries as early as possible. If you don't, they don't care. But normally it says public service. People do not care about your personal space. They don't care. So for me, I had to just create a rule by 7 p.m. I don't pick calls from police officers. But because now 2021 was such a dark year for me, it got to a point that times, even at 4 p.m., once I get to my house, airplane mode until the next day, or even I'll just switch off my phone. So there are times you have to also create space just for yourself. It means just blocking those calls, you just block them. Even there are times I was too tired to even tell my parents, you cannot find me because I'm just having a very bad day. So even I think also based on that experience in 2021, you feel like you're being swallowed in. And again, you need to find somebody who also you can talk to, somebody who just you can be vulnerable with and they'll understand you. But also if they're feeling maybe here, maybe you're falling short here, they also correct you. So I also had that. But I think when things got really bad for me in 2021, December is when now like I had a talk with my dad. And that was like the first time, like he just so even just like, hey mom, I have never seen you like this because I had
Yeah.
lost weight. I was just
Mm.
tired. And he's like, I've just never seen you being like this because I just had it. So yeah, and then now for me, I'm in a area where I do not come from. And then you have no friends. I only have one friend. Unfortunately, since I came back to the city. But I say I only had one friend and we used to go through a lot with her, which now she became my neighbor before I left. And she was my safe space for there. So even her and I, she was already home, but see for her and I, we always kept each other on check. So that time when you're feeling down, you're just like today, she's called Karen. I'm like, today I'm not feeling okay, Karen. Even she's like, today I'm not feeling okay. So she was my nice safe space that honestly I had, and I really, really appreciate her for that. She has no idea, which I think she knows, but she
Yeah.
has no idea. She made my stay in Meru bearable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. And if you didn't do all these things, the cooking, the jogging, your support system, Karen, there for you, and you can share with her, even sharing with your dad, what do you think that would have done to your health, your mental health, your physical health?
I won't be okay.
Mm,
I'll be I'll be in a very worse off state.
mm,
Because you're suffocating half the time. That's what I'm saying. Like, guys need to understand when they see now my colleagues, that time we don't want to be rude to you, but you have to understand everything is just coming at once. So again, when do I catch my breath? When am I to be like, I just want to be IV today? You don't get that. You leave the office, people are already camping at the gates of the office or even at the door. Can I talk to you? I have an issue. But you're like, no, I have closed my work for the day. I need to go home. I need to go and collect myself. I need to go even maybe do an M-Pesa.
mm,
People just don't understand
mm.
that part of that. I'm not a superhuman being. I'm just a human being, imagine. So for me, honestly, if I had not even just so I know I spoke to my dad, of course my brother knew, my mom knew, but I think with my dad is when I had a very raw conversation with him because he always sees me as somebody who is a very high tolerance to tough situations. And for
Mm,
once it was like she's actually just not okay. And
mm,
I think I was maybe you're fighting your tears when you're in that space. So he was like, he just said, Mom, I'm sorry. I've just never seen you being like this. So I felt like, honestly, if I had not one accepted that I was not okay, my issue was okay. at least one I have admitted I'm not okay. But then now, who do I tell? I told my dad, of course, I told my mom, my brother, they knew. And also selective friends, maybe how deep it really, really was. And after that, it was now, okay, we're in December 2021, 2022. How can we navigate all of this? How can we change this mindset? And so 2022, at least so I was working maybe 4 days a week because now Monday became a civil day for my workstation there, except night was on duty. So at least for one, I used to come back more often because now 2021, I used to come home maybe after 6 weeks or 2 months, and it gets lonely. So at least also coming back home really helped me more, And I think also now changing my mindset because you're in the deep end, you've learned the system, you've learned how to become firm without feeling bad. Because again, when you start, you feel maybe it was a bit too harsh, but now you realize that you need to stand firm on what you believe and how you feel your case should go, and you should not feel bad about it. So I learned that and also when to say no.
Yeah.
Because I realized if you're a yes person, people will really take advantage of you. And that is something I was for some time. But then when it's a hard no, it's a hard no. But where I feel I can be flexible enough, I have to put limitations to that.
Yeah.
And also how I felt, maybe how you're being addressed in court. That is something I learned how I always feel with lawyers, you don't have to be the loudest in a courtroom to prove that you are a very smart, amazing
Yeah.
lawyer. No, but I found my voice and I became firm with my voice. So there are times I've been like, no, 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 I don't agree on ABCD. So I don't feel that if I'm going to be shut down, I'll also shoot back. I'll start rebutting, not out of fear, but out of I've gained my confidence to also rebut back. So 2021 was a very bad year because I felt like I was just beat down to the core. But
Yeah.
2021, I came with, confidence, at least after I went for my 1 month off, January. So I had time to, relax, relate, release, and exercise, which is very therapeutic for me. So I came back ready,
Yeah.
guns blazing, but
Guns
really
blazing.
in a very professional way. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
realized for a job, if you don't find one, your safe space, one, if you don't introspect enough, one, admitting when you, and again, if you're not sure about who you are in terms of okay, since I joined the job, what has changed about me? Are you okay with what is happening? Is it good or bad? If you don't focus on those things and knowing what is your outlet, you'll just drown, easily drown. Because I also thank God that I don't drink anymore. Because I'm hitting my 5 years in November of not drinking, and I'm like, if I was still drinking, where I was staying across the road, there are like three locals that were operating until I think 3 a.m. You see,
Yeah.
you'll easily become an alcoholic. Unfortunately, fortunately for me, at least that was not my path. So I may cook, and baking, you can also add alcohol in your baking. So I'll have alcohol in my house for baking or cooking. But I was not in a moment at okay, I've had a very bad day. I need to catch up on it. At least that's the one thing I've always been true is to my sobriety. Okay, I would say sobriety because I am not an alcoholic. I was never an alcoholic.
And for your colleagues, what are some of the things you've seen as to how the job has impacted their health? I know maybe alcoholism may be one of them. What else may have you seen?
I know your alcoholism is there, but I've also realized people just don't pay attention to their physical health.
Mm.
Because now for me, so one of my colleagues, we go to the same gym. Just that when I'm entering, she's leaving, or the
Okay.
times she's just about to finish her workout.
Yeah.
But guys just don't pay attention to their physical health because again, once for prosecutors, your day is always in court. So
Yeah.
once you're done with court, you're so tired. Then you go to the office, you hear maybe you have your files you have to give advice on. Then again, the 190 is coming with their 10,000 problems. So by the time you're done, what's the next thing you want to do? To go home, to eat and sleep. Which I remember the first, okay, when I go to Meru, I caught COVID after 1 month. So when I went back full swing now working, that was my emo for like 3 months straight. I was just work. I go home, I eat, because again, we never used to break in my court. Once we start it until we are done. And then now, because I was learning the job, of course, I'll take much longer than my colleagues. You go home, you have to eat because your sugar levels are very low. Then you shower, then maybe you eat again, and then you sleep. You start your next day. So guys don't really take care of their physical health, which is very unfortunate. So when I say I go to the gym at least 4 days in a week, minimum 3 when I'm too busy, people don't realize that is something that they can do.
Mhm.
Other
I
than the
mean,
gym, people don't also create time maybe to do a sport. Guys do, for men, there's football. People are doing cycling nowadays. Or even within the estate, some places, guys are in a running club. People don't see there's an option to do something outside work than maybe just going to a bar, going to have a coffee, going to have a dinner. So in terms of other interactive ways to create downtime, people have not really ventured into that. Or even now going for play. So now I've been pulling one of my colleagues. I'm like, okay, we'll go for a play. Last week Saturday we went for stand-up improv comedy, BYSS because you said so. Because I'm like, you need to find other ways to have downtime that I believe should be conducive, and it's not there. I don't know if people are also in book clubs. Those are things I just don't know. But I know some of my colleagues, things maybe they'll do on the side is farming. But again, farming is more or less to increase your pocket.
Yeah.
So it's more on a financial perspective. It's not a hobby. So there are no other innovative outlets, honestly, that I hear my colleagues
Mm.
pick up on other than traveling. And you're traveling, you only do when the pockets also allow you. Not every week, I'm going here, and there. It's not there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, also, most of my colleagues I've realized are also parents. Be single, be married. So outside your work life, straight into family life. So even for them, I don't think they have time for themselves.
Mm.
Although there's one that I really admire, I think she's a mom,
Mm.
but just a clique of her girlfriends. And when it's girl time, it is girl
Yeah.
time. And they're going for their girl trip, they go home. And I'm like, you know what, at least you
Are doing
you try to
something.
strike the balance of I think she's a
Yes.
mom or being a mom, and she's a very also her rank is also quite senior.
Mhm.
She has her girlfriends that she knows she has her safe space,
Mhm.
and also she'll travel. Also, she does jog. She's going back into jogging. And I'm like, at least she's making the effort to do something outside. Like, I'm like, okay, people can actually do it. So she's the only one who I know who does all of these things. How she creates a time, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
And
I
that's
always
what I was gonna,
admire from her farm. I'm like, I
yeah.
like what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And
people
that's what I
don't
was
do.
gonna, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like your schedule is hectic, but you've been able to find ways to do your exercise, your gym at least 4 times. You adjust it maybe at least twice. You do your cooking. So what has helped you to create the time, or to not, is it create the time? I had someone who said it's not create time, it's, oh, I can't remember how she put it, but to give yourself that time to take care of your physical health. So what's helped you to allocate that time?
Um, okay, because when I looked back at 2021, so 2021, I honestly never used to create the time. The only thing I wanted to do was just to leave work and come back to my
Mhm.
house. my humble abode. And if it's to cry, let me just cry, cry, cry. Then,
Yeah.
you cook to make yourself feel better. And also, I love listening to music. And
Yeah.
then you watch and sleep. So then now, if there's time, then I can go home. Now to Nairobi. That was 2021. And then 2022, there was now a shift in terms of, at least I was finishing my court sessions earlier. And I had time to come back to Nairobi. At least I used to come back, I think, every 2 weeks. So now that I knew I could finish court a bit earlier, because now I got, better with the job and what elements I need to bring out faster, all of those things. I remember I used to try to wake up at 5 a.m. to do a 1 hour workout. I tried. Eh, I'll do maybe 1 day, 2 days, then I was just tired. So I decided, let me just switch to the evening. So you have to do trial and error. So in the evening, I used to try maybe 3 days in a week. So then last year and also just this year, what I decided was that if I would start working out in the evening, in the evenings, the days that I can, I'll rather work out on the days that, if it's 4 days in a week, the days I am not coming back to Nairobi. So it'll start maybe Thursday, Friday, because I know Saturday and Sunday I'll jog in the morning, then immediately I'll just come back and work out. So I wouldn't say it's creating time. Honestly, you have to be very purposeful with what it is that you want. When you see yourself, are you happy with what it is that you're seeing? No. What are you doing to try and fix the problem? Are you addressing the problem? I'm not addressing it. What is it that you want to do to address the problem? That's where you start from. Even now, like I'm back, when I moved back, I had to take 1 month off literally to figure out my routine, which I think I told you I need to know my routine, because I purposely put my gym membership start in 5th of June. So I had to, first deal with school, but I came back. I had to know my routine. Okay, what time am I leaving the house to go to work? What time am I going to leave work? What time will I come back home? And then now, what time can I go to the gym? How many days in the week can I go to the gym? I said maximum I can do 5, but realistically it will always be 4. If it's a bad week, I said 3, and I'm not going below that 3. So at least I knew, okay, 3 days, 4 days, bad week, 3 days. Which days of the week can I be going to the gym? I said Monday is normally hectic, so I canceled Monday. I said from Tuesday to Friday, I can. But I also said, why am I limiting myself to Tuesday to Friday? I should also be flexible enough to go any day of the week, even Monday if possible. Which now you have to challenge yourself. Honestly, if you're going to the
Yes.
gym, you're going to the gym to challenge yourself to correct something with your body or
Yes.
just you yourself. I'm like, okay, why am I canceling the weekend? I can just go,
Mhm.
which is what I do. So even I'd have gone today, but I'm going, Saturday, Sunday, and I'll go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then, or I'll just break maybe on Monday, I go Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm done.
Mhm.
So you have to find a way that is, you have to put yourself in a routine. Okay, for the work week, it has to be very blocked, but for the weekend, you have to make it as flexible as you can. Like for me, I'll go tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, Monday, I'll go in the afternoon. You have to be purposeful and very determined. If not, then you won't do anything. So
Mm.
that is something that I had to do the study. And I'm like, okay, now let's try. Like I remember the first time when I went back, I tried the first 2 days. The time I was going to that around it was 5. So 5 to 7, it gets super packed. And I was not happy that I remember the first time when I went, I actually had a social anxiety episode.
Mm.
What I knew I was going to do again took me back to 2021 and I was addressing the court. I went blank.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, even if you're blank, let's go back to the easiest thing, full body. Because no full body, you just you know what to tackle easily. Because
Yeah.
I need to go and do, I think it was my legs. I hit her. I was blank. I was like, there's so many people.
Mm.
Then I'm like, okay, me being away for this long, the dress code change. I'm like, I didn't get the name about a dress code. I was also happy of seeing more women in the gym. I was like, oh, things have actually changed. But I'm like, I felt like I didn't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I've paid for these services. I know what I'm meant to be doing here. So I forgot what I was meant to do that evening. But I was like, okay, since it's too full for you, then again, fighting for equipment, I hate that. But that's something that was happening. So, or waiting for guest finisher, their workouts, then you ask. So I was like, no, let me go. And it's a bit less full, which is now at 7:30. So now I was supposed to work out from 7:30 until 9 p.m. Yeah, so it's a trial and error, but I always
It
say you have
is.
to be consistent
Yes.
and be very purposeful is the word.
That's it. That's it. And I love how before you mentioned how when you were talking to your dad and he mentioned something about, your high tolerance for situations. And this is a
Mm.
common thing for women that that we are considered strong women. And so no one is maybe looking to see how we really feel. So what would be your encouragement for women who appear to have this high tolerance for life or the struggles of life?
I think it's one thing my brother will always say.
Mhm.
Actually, two things. It's okay not to be okay.
Mhm.
And whatever emotion you're going through that day, don't run away from it. Go through that emotion. And one thing is very vocal about, if you're not okay, find somebody you can talk to. And you see, for me, okay, unlike my brother is very, people won't believe is an ambivert. According to him, he's an ambivert. I didn't know that until 3 years ago. I had no idea. But technically, he's more approachable than I am, technically. So in him, there's a way he's always able to have, conversations with people easily, as opposed to maybe I, because again, I'm an introvert, so you have to create, okay, now we are moving to ambivert. We are graduating.
We're
But
graduating.
I have to be very comfortable around you so that I can start maybe showing myself. But it's one thing he always said, like, Ivy, if you're not okay, like, he'll always say, I am always here at your corner. If you're not okay, pick up that phone, call me, send me a voice note, text me. I will always be ready to listen. So always have somebody who will be that person for you without any judgment. Even if they see you crying, it is okay. And that is something I think for women who believe in, we can take everything that comes to us, but there are times you will just be so weak
Mhm.
and you don't even know who to turn to. And see, for me, I think I believe that my relationship with my brother, in terms of when I moved to Meru, like, we have had our issues, ups and downs, but 2017 is when now he started addressing the issue with me. He's the one who brought it to my attention that the issues and we need to work on this. So it has always been an up and down, but I believe that was it 2018 or 19? Is there now I think it was 2019, now when we had a very long conversation as siblings, in terms of, like, it's just him and I, and how we need to improve on our relationship, and also how we work on each other. Honestly, also show how you should work on I'll say, your close knit friendships, which I believe, like, they moved to Meru. We will become too tight. Like, we're already close, but I believe that things I will not ever talk to my brother about,
Mhm.
we talk about it. And
Wonderful.
he'll always, like, every week he'll be like, hey baby, I was just calling to check up on you. He'll send me a voice note, me, I was just checking up on you. How is Jobo? How is it over there? If there's anything, just let me know. I'm always here. And you see, for
Yeah.
him, like, he was away,
Mhm.
but he created that space for me. And
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
with friends become busy with
Yeah.
life. So even now, I think my friends, some of my close friends, I think it was only like two people who knew. One, she's in Australia, and then the other one, she's in Canada. Like, but even now for them, life has, we talk, but then now people have their own responsibilities, because now one is a mom, the other one, she's a busy, but they also, Canada has not been really being kind to her. But these are guys I used to just tell them as it is, like, this is what I'm feeling, I'm not okay. You know, even before now, I'll maybe raise it to my brother, but I see now he made that space for me to be like, oh yeah, today I'm just not okay. So, you know, he'll just, okay, what is the matter? So he let me talk uninterrupted. And then now, always words of encouragement, always, always, always. And also, plus, my dear Karen, so don't doubt yourself, you know, you're there for a reason and all of those things. So I believe that Meru was, it character developed me in a way that I feel like my tolerance grew more, but also it made me learn I'm human, and my physical being and also my mental being really matters. And also that what I saw as hearing the word, you know, prosecutor, until you're in the job, your opinion literally changes, you know, and guys don't understand because you're a bystander. You're not in my shoe to understand what it is that we go through. Until now, I keep telling my brother, you know, all of these things.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, damn, I didn't see it from this point of view. And I'm like, yeah, people don't understand until you have to hear it from the person themselves what we go through.
Yeah.
So we are not superwomen. People need to
No.
understand that.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
And you also mentioned before, you know, some of the challenges of your role, the misogyny. So how do you deal with maybe sexual harassment
Wow,
as
wow, wow.
as an individual? And then maybe what can you encourage women to do, or even men, when they're faced in that situation, since we have the privilege of you who is in the legal space?
Yeah, I have been sexually harassed in my, yeah, when I was in Meru County. I'll just say Meru. By the way, Meru County was not the first place I've been sexually harassed at a place of work. Place of work also means other stakeholders, people, not just your colleague, also it could be a fellow lawyer, which has happened. For me, it was lawyers, police officers, and even sometimes one of the victims. Anyway, this is when you have to check, especially for men with sexual harassment, or you have to check them. And I never used to mix my words with that. If it's inappropriate, it is inappropriate. If there is something that is sexual, basically it is sexual harassment, I will use that word to your face to tell you what you're doing is actually bad behavior.
Good.
And there's another time, one of the police officer who made a comment about the suit that I wore, how it made my body look. So luckily, my male colleague now he's in Nairobi. He held my hand. He was all, I can't say his name, but
Yeah.
when I went through the thick of things 2021, and I remember I lost so much weight, he held my hand as like, take some time off, I'll handle your workload. So there's a cop who made a comment about how my body looked in that suit. And he told the cop, first of all, what you said is very inappropriate. This is a place of work. Secondly, that is sexual harassment. Can you apologize to her? And I was like, oh, I didn't ask him,
Yeah.
but he did something for me. But also he knew that there were situations whereby actually I'd been sexually harassed, which I used to tell him. And he's like, Ivy, get me to go and deal with these people, because we were three of us in my first work station, and I was the youngest. And the age gap was a bit wide. I'm like, no, you're like my sister. Should I go and deal with them? And I'm like, if it presents itself, kindly please do. So with that cop, tell the cop, can you apologize to her while I am here? You cannot say such things to her. Never. And the cop apologized.
Amazing.
Yeah,
A
from there I
Kenyan
was
cop
like, okay.
apologized. That one is
So
a
there are men who
miracle.
do that, people. There are men who do that. Yeah. So me, I used to be very firm. If it was if I find what you're telling me is honestly, it is sexualizing me, no, I will correct you because I realized the first time I went through sexual harassment, when you think it is, am I the problem or is it the person in power is the problem? And to me, it got to a point, even my dress code and my energy just, I used to dress, anyways to care, I used to come to work. I'm like, I've just come to work, I'll do my job, then I just go. Until one of my superiors was like, okay, you come, you do your job, but I don't like your presentation of how you're dressed to work. Yes, you're looking official, but you're just looking too dull. So I don't know what it is, but you need to fix it. So now when you're brought back to where every corner somebody is sexually harassing you, and I'm like, your words and actions are not going to change how I'm going to conduct myself today. I will correct you. You need to go sit in your corner and think about what it is that you're doing that is very wrong. But I'll carry on with my day with, head high.
Yeah.
With confidence. Yeah. So after my colleague was like, no, 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 Ivy, I am also here to fight for such wars for you. Mm.
Yeah. And so, as you mentioned before, sometimes, the common Monanchi, and for those who don't understand, that's how can I translate it? The regular person may be
Mm.
approaching you, you've just gone into work and they're ready for you and all sorts of pressures that you guys face. So for someone we know who's in the legal field, a criminal lawyer, what are some signs that will tell us, you know what, this person is not okay?
Yeah, I think, okay, honestly, I think how they conduct themselves. There's a way emotions just show.
Mm.
Okay, it can start with the dressing, but there's some I've seen who have been well dressed,
Mm.
but how they talk,
Mm.
how they express themselves,
Mm.
and actually how in the man is the same thing. And you'll just see something is off.
Mm.
And I've realized those people who have seen something is off, the ones I have interacted with, always have to come with somebody with them.
Mm.
There are those who will come alone
Mm.
and break down and all of those things. And in such situations, maybe you're thinking how you need to go home and sleep.
Mm.
I'm sorry. Pride aside, you have to just sit, strip those whatever you need to do away, and just hear that person out.
Yeah.
And but there's a way you'll just know how they, especially how they talk and emotionally how they just express themselves. You'll just always know there's an extreme of an emotion that will come. It can maybe be too much, crying,
Yeah.
yelling,
Yeah.
or maybe if somebody is maybe too happy,
Mm-hmm.
something that they're hiding there. Or
Mm.
if somebody is just
Talking,
agitated,
talking,
why,
talking.
yeah, why are you agitated? That is when you just talk to themselves randomly.
Mm.
I remember there's one we had in court, which I don't know what was wrong with that guy, but he was very rude to the
Oh,
magistrate and even told her, can she shut up? Can
oh,
you shut
wow.
up? You're wasting my. Yeah, yeah, it happens. It happens. It happens. It happens in court. And see, for her, she's like, one, you're in my courtroom. You need to respect the court.
Mm-hmm.
And until she asked him, okay, you know what? I don't like how you're conducting yourself, but there's something wrong with you. What is going on? So the guy wanted to storm her, but then now we have orderlies,
Mm.
so they had to be restrained. And she was
Oh,
like, you
wow.
know what? Yeah, yeah. So I remember she was like, okay, for you, I don't know whatever anger, where this anger is coming from, but she actually recommended for the guy to be taken for, a psych evaluation just to
Mm.
see
Mm.
what is wrong with this person. Another one I had, another boy, if you meet him, he's a very calm, collected guy. But this guy, first of all, he damaged his uncle's car, stole bananas, threw stones at the window pins for his uncle's house, then threatened to kill the uncle. He was armed with a panga. So and he pleaded guilty. He was very calm. So now we're saying Ukweli, it's true. And you meet him very young because he was 19. He's 19. And he was just very nonchalant. And my male former male magistrate was like, okay, he's too young, because now like to threaten somebody to kill them, that's 10 years clean. And he's like, this boy is too young to be put in behind bars for 10 years. He's like, no, let me first do. So what he recommended that we do, it's called a PSR, pre-sentencing report, normally done by the probation office. So they did that. And then he was like, how he was talking, he's like, yeah, I did it. I don't care. And he was very too calm about what he knew he did was wrong. And he didn't sort of care. So he was like, here, there's something off. So while we asked for the PSR, he also asked for a mental assessment to be done, and also asked for his guardians, because apparently his parents had passed away. So for his guardians to come. So, oh, sorry, the father died, but the mother was alive. But was staying with the uncle because they had a very bad disagreement with the mom, because they also tried to cut the mom. So the mom came. The mom was like, me, if this boy is released, I don't know what more harm he'll do to me, because he has a mental issue. So I'm like, okay, it makes sense why he was just very nonchalant, like, yeah, I did it, but so what? So the mother was like, the only person who he actually listens to is the uncle. So since he already had pleaded guilty, honestly, we had to even terminate the case, because we cannot convict somebody who basically mentally is insane. So, for that, at least the JA was able to notice this boy, he pleaded guilty, but he was so calm about everything that he did. Even when the uncle was talking, he was just speaking his name, like, yeah, me, I tried to cut my mom. Why? I don't know. I tried to cut my mom. So when the test came back, I think he was diagnosed as a schizo person.
Okay.
And then also he was not taking medication. They're just like, kichwa yake, they would say now his head, okay, I'll say in Kiswahili, but then English, kichwa yake ilikuwa tu ikiruka
Yeah.
wakati wowote. So his head just he used to have his manic episodes at any time. So they never understood what that was about. Until now that evaluation came. So for him, we actually had to be committed to, I think he was taken to Madare. But then if Madare cannot keep him, maybe he can be released back. There's an order saying he had to be released back to only his uncle. But also to have maybe the evaluations done after a certain period. When now the hospitals decide when. But yeah, so there's sometimes you really have to observe somebody's demeanor, because you'll be like, yeah, it's a bit too extreme. What is happening here?
Yeah,
If you're
yeah.
too calm, why are you too calm? What are you hiding?
Yeah. And so I know you mentioned before sometimes criminal lawyers may not take the time to invest in their physical health, their mental health. So for people who are seasoned lawyers and they're used to the stress of the job, they can't see the time where they would squeeze in all these things that would help them. Their parents, what would you advise them to do, maybe to start with?
It's still like for me, I took my time to understand my day to day, and
Yeah,
then create a routine.
yeah.
And that is something people need to take that and to feel that when you deserve time to yourself,
Mhm.
you deserve it. Yeah, even Saturdays nowadays, I've limited my interactions. I always say one person per Saturday.
Yeah, yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
It's okay. And guys need to realize I don't have to meet 5, 10 people in a day or a weekend
No.
just to say that my day was productive. Imagine, no, I feel like nowadays I can give you that one person that one day, those 2 or 3 hours, but the rest have to be my time. And people need to understand you need to create time for yourself.
Mhm.
there's a glow that will come out of it. And also when you're creating time for yourself, what are you doing that's going to bring something positive that you wake up feeling good, refreshed about yourself? So there's the one part, creating the time, being selfish at that time, but also what positivity are you bringing out of it for yourself? What is it that you're trying to feel you've not addressed that needs to be addressed? So people should not feel guilty about it. You're going to create time for people, but what
Mhm.
if then they're creating time for themselves? People never think of that perspective.
Yes.
So you need to be selfish with your time,
Mhm.
in my opinion. And
Yeah.
that is something, do not feel guilty, but just
Mhm.
do it.
Yeah.
Take the time, do your research. Okay, this is my day. How can I adjust my day to suit my me time?
Yeah. That's
Mm.
it. Yeah. And I know earlier you mentioned sometimes maybe there's not enough support for you guys in different ways. So what kind of support do you feel criminal lawyers need to be effective in taking care of their health, whether it exists or it doesn't?
I'll just be very frank, for our
Mm,
office, it's mental health.
mm,
Because man, there's some cases that you do, Tracy, you get
mm.
so triggered.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the only person who will understand you is your fellow colleague or your
Yeah.
magistrate or the police officer or the probation officer,
Mm.
because you're in the same
Yes.
syndicate. So it's something familiar to them. But again, has that really helped you? No. They've
Mm.
had you, but
Yes.
has it dug deeper to what it is that you really feel that has not, maybe even you're not aware about?
Mm,
Absolutely not.
mm,
So I believe, which is something I think it's prosecutors all over the world in terms of
mm,
mental health, our government needs to do better. I know our
mm.
office has said that apparently I think our health insurance has um, policies for mental health, seeing a
Yeah.
psychologist.
Hmm.
And also we did those, I think those a session whereby there's a psychologist that came, I think like twice.
Okay.
But I feel it's not enough, to be honest.
Mm, hmm.
So even for police officers, so
Yeah.
as much as we don't like them, but also
Mm,
them, who do they go to?
yeah.
Nobody other than their fellow
Themselves.
people. Or
Yeah.
of course for them it's that or alcohol, or
Hmm.
then more or less it's suicide, or you kill your whole family, then you commit
Mm,
suicide. And these are issues that have been negated, and it's very unfortunate because
mm,
I think how your mental is really
mhm.
affects your performance at work.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately for us, it's more of you have to deliver. You have to push X amount of cases. We don't care. We have to get this
Mm,
amount of convictions. But I'm like, what about my upstairs?
yeah.
So mental health is something that has been negated,
Mm,
and we need to do better.
mhm.
Not only as an office, but also I feel just, I don't know about for white people, but now for now Africans, it's peaking, but it's not peaking
Mm,
faster than it should for mental health,
mhm, mhm.
But they always maybe just see it as maybe, of course, somebody who, there's a schizo issues. That's how they associate mental health. And I'm like, no, if I'm really, maybe I'm overly anxious, I don't know
Yeah.
why. That things that just have to be brought up. Maybe I have a colleague who is bipolar and I don't know.
Hmm.
And these things happen, but
Hmm.
it's just never been addressed in my
Hmm.
opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some things, even I think there's some cases I tell my brother and I'm like, have I triggered him today? Or maybe there's some things that like there's something that we saw with my dad. And I made a very nonchalant response. He was
Mm.
very right. And I'm like, but I'm used to seeing this, so
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why you're being so agitated. But I'm like, for me, this is so.
Yeah.
It's like, Mom, you cannot talk like that. And this is something
Mm,
really serious. And I'm like,
mm,
but I'm used to seeing this and I've seen
mm.
worse. So what are you telling me?
Yeah.
Again, you kind of lose a part of yourself. You become cold. So I don't know if it's like doctors where,
you become
I'm
used
handling a
to.
patient, no emotion
Mm.
should be involved. That's not for us. But there are some cases that just trigger you, and I'm like, who do you go to outside your colleagues?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for that.
And I know before, okay, or rather, we've said, oh, there's a lot of challenges with the job, but what are the rewards that come with the job?
Yeah, I remember I told you that I really loved the environmental space,
Mhm.
but God, He said, this is your path.
Yeah.
Well, at least one thing out of the job I've come to love is actually cases concerning SGBV, sexual gender-based violence, specifically concerning children.
Mm.
And okay, of course, there's a peace, conflict, and security part, but there's a soft spot I have more things concerning children
Mhm.
and also child development. I wish there's a course for lawyers to do something dealing with child development, but this whole experience of being in Meru made me realize, okay, we have shelved back environmental law. We have to focus what's in front of you. And there's a way I'll always handle my SGBV matters, especially concerning children, generally all, but there's a way that you'll handle children. And there's a way you feel fulfilled that, a child's development, they already face trauma, but how can you help them to overcome this trauma?
Mm.
Also for me, in terms of having a relationship with kids. So Edgar is very good with children. Edgar being my brother, he's
Mhm.
amazing with kids. I, on the other hand, I struggle, but from a certain age group, I'm okay with them. But you
Yeah.
see now, that's your my job.
Yeah.
If your child is your witness, you have
Mhm.
to talk to that child.
Yeah.
And so I had to figure a way how I had to lower. They always say, do not address the child as an adult because they get scared to talk to you. So you have to find out their language
Mhm.
on how to talk to them and express to them so that they'll be comfortable enough to talk to you. And thanks to my job,
Mhm.
I had to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Honestly, there's some cases that you do, and you talk to the child even before court, and they'll interact with you when night's time, go time, they go quiet.
Yeah.
So now you have to sweet talk them,
Yeah.
make them feel it's comfortable. Then not make them feel like whatever you're saying, it's not something bad.
Mhm.
It's for their benefit, and also to show them they have a voice. So do not hold back your voice. Like Nani, Angela, the poet.
Angela, the
Maya
oh,
Angelou,
my
when
Angelie,
when
okay.
the guy who raped her, and
Okay.
for 5 years she was mute because
Mm.
after she said what happened to her, and the guy was killed, and then she went mute.
Mm.
We see later on she found her voice again, and I'm like, no, don't be that person. Like, say it. Do not feel embarrassed about it because you're helping somebody. You're helping. There could have been a next victim, but
Yeah.
your words will literally save the next person.
Yeah. Mhm.
So honestly, it has made me, yeah, at least know my area of focus I want to lean towards,
Mhm.
but also in terms of how to interact with children. It has
Yes.
really, I was horrible.
It's all a learning process.
Yeah, but I'm grateful for that. Honestly, something I never thought, but I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for that for sure.
Excellent. So, what's
Mm.
been your most proudest achievement through your career?
I'll say my growth as a person. I won't talk about convicting people,
Mhm.
but I feel my growth as Ivy. I feel like how will guys always say describe me as somebody who has their head above their shoulders, somebody who can really articulate where it's wrong, they'll always be verbose. But I feel one facing my fears of going to court made me realize I have a voice,
Mhm.
and that voice must be heard, whether
Yes.
you like it or not. And through that voice, what are your limits?
Mhm.
If this is my limit, it is okay. I have to accept these are my limitations. If I am not okay, it is okay. Who again, who is my go-to person? Who is my safe space? How do I handle such tough situations? So I feel for me, that part of me has grown because before I was very reserved. If I was going through something, I never necessarily used to talk that much, which is something I don't know if I got that from my dad. I guess so. But I never really used to articulate, but maybe you'll see I'm struggling. And then now when I used to drink, there are times you're going through something, and I always say things like Jack Daniels used to bring out the deepest, darkest thoughts to my life. So
Mhm.
you just go through, maybe with your friends, then everything just hits you and you have an emotional breakdown. And guess are like, but this is not Ivy. Where has this come from? Then not from that embarrassment, I just used to go into hiding for some time. But I guess also not drinking at least has made me figure out you need to be aware of if you're not okay, how do I address this? Then now with the job after 2021, how honestly can I address issues concerning me? So I feel there's been a lot of growth for me. I won't talk about professionally, which
Mhm.
I've grown as a person
Yeah.
professionally to be like
Yeah.
it's okay, I've shared environmental law, and I have found a different area of focus, but I'll talk about as Ivy. I feel for myself personally, I personally bad English. I have that I've matured in my own level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. And before I ask the last question, I was just going to ask you, how has it been possible? You mentioned earlier to stay sober, not because you were an alcoholic or anything, but to stay sober for 5 years as a criminal lawyer in Kenya. Please tell us how this is even possible, because people
First
don't
of
think it
all,
is.
oh wait, one more thing. Another thing that courtesy of this job is financial responsibility. So I'm very strict with my, if I'm saving for something, I am very strict. So
Mhm. So
thankfully,
discipline. Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I never thought, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the money used for blowing, you spend, but
Mhm.
mm, mm,
Yeah.
what we save, we save strictly. So yeah, something that I didn't even think about it, but yeah, I'm doing it
Mhm.
strictly.
Good.
Yeah, so sobriety. How will I start? Honestly, after 2019, so the last time I had alcohol was 2nd of November 2019. Yeah. And I remember I was I was hangovered, sorry for people. I was hangovered for 3 days and then I had H. pylori. But I was thinking that I was looking at myself that when I was always drinking, and you know what people do when you drink, then the next day you always have plans.
Mhm.
You'll still feel, I have a hangover. I'll say the Kenyan way, kutoa lock, you go and buy whatever you're drinking to, they always say, to bring back the alcohol for you to function. And you see, for me, go to a point, I just couldn't do that. So you drink, maybe now, I remember I changed my routine. I used to drink on a Friday, Saturday and Sunday, I'm out. Like I'm man down, then Monday, I go back to work. So meaning whatever engagements you had with your friends, you really let them down. And for me, when I was hungover, I never used to pick calls until when even my phone when used to die. Then so I don't want to pick calls. I just want to nurse my hangover. Maybe there are things I had to do in the house, which was mostly cooking. So I'm just in my bed and you're feeling so crap. And for me, it was, am I going to be this person every other weekend just because I want to have fun? Or maybe again, you're having fun, but you're running away from what you're battling inside you. Am I going to be that person? Again, I'm spending money on alcohol. When you get drunk, you become a very generous drunk person. So I am not saying sobriety, you do not save money. Your money always goes somewhere. But I'm like, where can my money go that actually makes sense? That's another thing I have to figure out. And also when you're doing this drinking thing, who are your friends? Who are your friends you can have outside drinking? You actually have the DMCs, deep, meaningful conversations. And I'm lucky for me, I think being an intro, the one thing is that your social circle tends to be very small. Yeah, when you go out, you'll know many people. But you see, for me, I know people courtesy of my brother, to be honest. And so but say for people who know me outside the social scene, they'll be like, oh, I didn't realize there's this other side of you. So, and I remember when I quit, again, 3rd of November, I'd say, that's the time there was no alcohol in my system. I got a lot of backlash. You're quitting with nights, December around the corner. You become boring. What are you trying to prove? Think of anything. Oh, and then at the times I used to go on break. So you're just on another break. So you just get to come back. And for me, when I quit, I remember the first place I went to was actually Mercury. And I sat with guys who drink what I normally drink. And I got hit for that. And I was like, you know what? I need to prove you guys wrong because maybe you guys, you have your own insecurities. You're just projecting them to me. I'm doing something. You didn't have the balls to do it. I'm doing it for you. But I just don't have to put it out there that, yeah, me, I'm sober. I don't do that until maybe, if I'm asked, what are you drinking?
Yeah.
I always say water. They're like, huh? You're drinking a Heineken? And I'm like, no. Heineken was my drink. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, 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 no. I just water or okay, I don't like doing juice that much anymore. So I'm like, just water. So I believe honestly with alcohol, if I was still drinking, one, I'd have battled very severe depression, and two, I'd have been a para alcoholic. And then three, it will have affected my work.
Yeah.
It affected my social life, which again, when I moved, it became extremely limited. Even before I left, because of, COVID, it was already, limited due to movement, but again, also due to sobriety. At that time, I really isolated a lot because I was just figuring this new transition of my life that honestly was not making sense. And I was trying to make sense. And I had now my pal was just like, no, 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 always reassuring me, like, no, 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 like stay where you are. It's okay. But also she used to worry because she's an extrovert, like, hey, I think you're isolating too much. You need to
Yeah.
have a social life. So if I was drinking, I think I would have been in a rehab by now. Again, you get to a job, you have your court files, you have to look at police files. Your people come, they've been camping from whatever time they came. You have to deal with cops. Where are my files? Are my witnesses there? Where's my exhibit? As again, you're putting out files, church sheets are coming for you to sign. You've been told you have to go to court. You don't have all your files. You're there, okay, court has started. It's always when do you
Something.
catch a break? Maybe today I've
Yeah.
been left in court. You feel so crap about yourself. You see, there's no.
Yeah. Breathing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so for sure, I'd have been an alcoholic. And I'm happy about my decision because
Yeah.
also it made me realize the other innovative ways, again, to have fun. I didn't realize I became that person where I'd rather be home on a Saturday night reading a novel. But I become that person. Like,
Yeah.
who knew? Because get like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
that's me.
Yeah.
I'd rather even do my research and to do tomorrow I want to cook ABCD. I'll watch
Yeah.
X amount of YouTube videos, be on Pinterest just to figure out, okay, what did they use, nini, so that I want to do that.
Yeah.
So I've come to appreciate the other things other than going to a club whereby, yes, it's fun to dance, listen to music, but again, dealing with drunk people, competing with the music so that by the time you're leaving, you're missing. It's just,
Yeah.
then again, value of sleep. People don't realize how sleep is very valuable.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. So then what's next for unapologetic voice speaking Ivy, where it looks like all your career, your personal life has gone in a direction you'd have never thought. So what's next for you?
Yeah, because now I am balancing school and work.
Mhm.
I do not want to limit my options.
Mhm.
So there are people who love where they're at in terms of their careers and specifically the employers, but I feel that at least now that I have realized an area of focus that I'm passionate about, so it's just a matter of navigating my next chapter. Um, Basically, what's outside there for me? How impactful can it be? How can I see maybe in 10 years if I was to run a project? Um, do I do it under an organization or also under my own organization? So I feel like again, I was okay with hanging my cleats for environmental law. But again, you see, again, I was brought back to human rights, but in the line of criminal law. Criminal law made me realize, oh my God, child rights. I
Mhm.
like children. I'm like, I didn't know I could actually have a good to relate with children well, but thanks to the job, it has opened this other path for me that, there's something there that can be tapped on. And that's a venture I literally want to focus on. So it's just a matter of finding my path, which I'm in that transition period. It's quite painful, but I'm saying sky is not the limit. People say the sky is the limit, sky is not
Yeah.
the limit, and I believe I deserve nothing but above the sky.
Yes,
Which is also
absolutely.
above where I'm at in terms of my employer. That's where.
Yeah.
In terms of eating healthy and trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle is something I had to incorporate from 2019 officially. Was that 2018 I was diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and at that time I didn't really know what it was. The gynecologist that I saw at that time didn't necessarily educate me. The only thing she just said was um, it's a lifestyle disease that, okay, how I got just because of my lifestyle basically. And then at that time, because I was 92 kgs, she was like, you're already obese, so you need to cut weight. And that because normally the form of treatment is birth control pills, she felt that the best option is always to go holistically, in terms of weight loss, change your diet, um, and exercise. That was the best approach that she gave me. So when she told me about it in 2018, I didn't really understand. And also her delivery at that time, because it was not my normal guy now who I normally see with a guy. But so I didn't follow her advice because PCOS, they're normally follicular cysts that grow in a woman's ovaries, and mine there were many. And at that time also it affected my ovulation. So I remember I did not ovulate for almost a year. From 2018 into 2019 I didn't ovulate, and many other symptoms. So when it's triggered really badly, it can also cause infertility. So I think at that time in 2019 also I had the IUD. Things got really bad. I also had gained really weight. I gained a lot of weight. So I went and saw now my normal gynecologist and told him ABCD is happening. So at that time I went and saw him. I was 96 kgs. Yeah. So of course the first thing was we had to remove the IUD, and also same advice that Dr. Rashida told me was, yeah, you have to cut weight, you have to change what you eat, your routine, and just for, also for you to start ovulating again. So his delivery was better because at least he was able to educate me what PCOS is, and also how to go about it without making me feel bad about myself, because at least he said there was still hope for me. So this after 2019, I gained the courage, which was now after 4 years is when I went and saw my gynecologist, which was literally last year, to do the pap smear and then just to do all my checkups in terms of my reproductive system. And I remember I was telling the radiologist when he was doing, the ultrasound and the transvaginal one, that, I have PCOS, but, at least right now, because when I saw the guy at that time, I was 72, which actually I am still 72 kgs. And the first comment my gyna made was, I've lost a lot of weight and I look good. So I remember when I was telling the radiologist, he said, are you sure that you have PCOS? Because I'm not seeing any cysts. They're literally gone. You're literally very clean. And that, it made me happy because after seeing my gyna in 2019, I saw a nutritionist immediately. Also at the same time, I also had H. pylori. Yeah, and also that is when I began my, I quitting alcohol. So everything was just falling into place. And yeah, I did my best in terms of exercising, dieting, trying to also create a work-life balance, which has always been a trial and error. But I feel that now that I moved back to Nairobi, it's something that, that I have really in tuned myself into, and I feel more in tune with myself now. But after seeing my gyna again last year, and I also had H. pylori, very weird, but he was happy because he said, like, you look good in terms of your, of course, the physical appearance looks good, but also your reproductive health system looks very good. In terms of also ovulating, I remember after I started now living a healthier lifestyle, I was now ovulating on clock, on time. Every single month, at least I know I ovulate. So I say it's possible. At least I addressed an issue early that it triggered. It can cause infertility, and PCOS is something that is happening to very many women of very young ages, because I was diagnosed with mine when I was 26. Now I'm just 32. And you can imagine that early. And also there are girls who are younger than that who are getting PCOS, but it's there. But I just feel, unless you confide with somebody that is, and when you also realize that also them have the same problem. But another issue is that when we talk about PCOS, there's the general symptoms that doctors tell you, but I think once maybe it has been cleared or there's some sort of progression, they don't also tell you there's some other hidden symptoms, like hyperpigmentation of the underarms is one of them, or even having bumps. Yeah, and so you always learn something new in terms of how to handle it. So how do I say, in terms of my motivation is that the one thing I have to make sure I have under control is PCOS. I'm better now, so it's cleared, just that I have just some other minor symptoms. But I'm also happy that I'm able to ovulate.
Amen. Ivy, it's been wonderful. It's been amazing. You've given us practical tips and you've highlighted why we have to be purposeful in the things that we do to take care of ourselves. You've given us, the way of how to look at things to make changes in our health. And it can be possible when you have such a hectic, demanding, mentally draining role like yours. It can be done. And, as we go through life in our careers, it will turn out in a way that we positively didn't expect. So thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sure people may want to connect with you in some way. So if they do, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Oh, sure. There's my LinkedIn.
But thank you so much. And we shall continue on the next episode. Thank you, viewers, for listening, for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care of yourself.